There has been a major archaeological discovery made in Florida. They aren't talking about it, but when this information breaks, it's going to rewrite history. I think they are trying to find a way to spin it to jive with a lot of incorrect information that they have sworn by for years about how old the earth is and when people came here and what types of people lived here when. I want to cover it in a future video, not today. I want to have the absolute best information, so tomorrow, maybe the next day, I will release a video talking about this. We are going to talk about another issue in Florida today, and it's going to dovetail with something that we've talked about before. A lot of you think I am your enemy because I have a very different definition of what socialism is. I knew when I went down this road that it was going to be a long, hard journey to redefine back to what the original definition of socialism was. See, your idea that it's some Stalinist, Marxist way of exterminating people and all this kind of stuff is a gigantic lie. This country, the one that you live in, was built on it. The National Defense and Highway System, the interstate system that keeps the free market blood flowing in this country, was built from a socialist standpoint. It wasn't done for profit. That's why it's called the Eisenhower. You cannot be a Christian and be a capitalist. But I'm not your enemy. See, I believe as you do what this picture says. Because Jesus says, I told you to feed the poor, not create laws that steal from people to do it. You'll never hear me advocate for taxing the rich to create a whole bunch of people in a welfare state that will continue to vote for that policy. That's not social democracy. Never been social democracy. And I want to show you something in another article that is going to prove I'm not your enemy. Now, they're trying to make you believe one thing in this article, when really something else is going on. Florida plans to buy and protect Everglades land in Broward, targeted for oil drilling. Now, on first blush, you would go, wait a minute. DeSantis is a Republican. You think he would be for oil drilling? He would be for that kind of thing. He must have gotten strong-armed or kowtowed or something like that. How did these liberals that are against exploring for energy get Republican Governor Rick DeSantis to do this kind of thing? Okay, so that's on first blush what you would think is going on. Well, these people that owned the land in the Everglades wanted to sell it, and they couldn't. So here's what they did. Here was their scam. They threatened to drill for oil in there to cause some huge uproar amongst the environmentalists. See, they never had any intention of drilling in the Glades because the plots that they owned, this family, it's called the Cantor, Kanter family, even their best experts said they had maybe an outside 1 in 4 chance of striking oil. And the amount of money that you've got to put into it just to have the opportunity to, it didn't make sense. So they leaked this story that they wanted to do this. Well, the environmentalists go nuts. And they say, government, you need to buy this land. You need to buy it, protect it. So that's what DeSantis went and did. And he ordered the land purchased by the state. Now, you would think that I would agree with this. I don't. I think the land should have just been expropriated. And people should not have been given a dime for doing what they did. A swath of land in the Everglades at the center of a fight between a family determined to drill for oil and a constellation of parties urging them not to might finally have a new future. The state intends to buy the 20,000-acre tract outright and halt the threat of oil drilling on protected lands near Broward County's western suburbs. Governor Ron DeSantis announced Wednesday. You see, now he gets to look like the good guy. He gets to look like the reasonable Republican. He gets to have that image. The seller, a Miami family who made their fortunes in real estate, won the right to drill for oil on their land last year, despite opposition from the state. If the sale goes through, it'll be the largest state land acquisition in a decade. This will permanently save the land from oil production, DeSantis said. With this acquisition, there will be nearly 600,000 acres of wetlands in Water Conservation Area 3 that will be protected by public ownership for recreation and restoration. You see, that should have already been the case. The Cantor family agreed to sell the land for $16.5 million, but that price goes up to $18 million if the state doesn't close the deal by June 30. The option agreement was signed on January 13th. See the scam here? Now they get taxpayer money. These wonderful free market capitalist oil driller people, they don't have to take their land and bring it to the free market and nobody wanted to buy it. Nobody wanted to buy it. Why? Because they knew they couldn't do anything with it because of the restrictions. Because it was a wetlands. They couldn't have turned it into a neighborhood. They couldn't have really done much with it. Now, you're going to love one of the details of this sale to the state. There's buckets of money for Everglades restoration everywhere, and it's not like it's going to, break the state of Florida. So the Cantor family originally purchased the land more than 50 years ago with plans to build a new city in the Everglades. In 2015, they asked the state for a permit to hunt for oil on their land. Wait a minute. So they couldn't build a city, so now they wanted to go try to drill for oil. The state EPA turned them down, but the Florida Court of Appeals reversed the decision in February. The appellate judge said DEP Secretary Noah Valenstein improperly recast factual findings to reach a desired outcome contrary to law. Now, you ready for this? According to Cantor's expert testimony in the case, there's only a 23% chance of finding oil on the site. And at $50 a barrel, if they found it, it would be worth something. But here's the problem. It's right on top of the fresh water base for all of Miami-Dade. But here's that provision. The state's option agreement with Cantor also includes a provision that allows him and his brother to continue to use a hunting camp on the property rent-free until both of their deaths, which means they're going to be able to charge people to go down there to hunt for free, even though it's state-owned property. The people that just sold it get to use it and use it for profit for free for the rest of their natural lives. Imagine that. His concern with the location of the Cantor well was how close it was to the Biscayne Aquifer, which provides all the drinking water for Broward and Miami-Dade County. Any potential spill of diesel fuel chemicals used for drilling or the super salty water from that deep in the ground could have been a danger to drinking sources for millions of people. You see, this is where I'm sure a lot of you, no matter whether you call yourself a socialist or whether you call yourself not a socialist, would say, yeah, this is a really bad idea. I mean, yeah, gosh, it would be great if we could drill for oil there, but man, if there's an accident, that would be a nightmare. So look what the game this family played. Look what they did. They get to look like they're heroes now because they sold their land to the state and they didn't drill. It's like a making of a movie when really the land was useless. They couldn't sell it on the open market. Nobody wanted it. If it was really that valuable for oil, some oil company would have grabbed it. I guarantee it, and would have paid them 4 times what the state of Florida did. So DeSantis looks good, the family looks good, the environmentalists get their win. It's just that the people of the state of Florida get soaked for $20 million when they should have just expropriated the property and said, no, if you're going to be that irresponsible and try to drill for oil that close to a natural water aquifer that supplies fresh drinking water for millions of people, you are not a responsible citizen of the state of Florida, and we're taking your property. And we'll give you 10 cents on the dollar. Don't pull this bullshit again. And let that be a lesson to anyone who would pull that bullshit on the people of the state of Florida. See, I'm sure a lot of you out there scratching your heads right now. It's like, he sounds like a Democrat. He sounds like a Republican. I don't understand who this guy is. It's because I'm neither. You see, this is one of those times when the state needed to step in and say, no way. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or in this case, the 3 or 4 obscenely wealthy people that had this very dumb idea 50 years ago to build a city in the Everglades. Oh, you mean you made a poor decision 50 years ago, and now you want the people of the state of Florida to bail you out, and when they don't do it, you say, oh, I'm going to drill for oil. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put a big well there, and it might contaminate the water. You better do something to stop me. And of course, DeSantis falls for it. Not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree, DeSantis. Of course, he's from Ponte Vedra, so that's, you probably just gotta take the good with the bad, I guess. $20 million. These people made out like a bandit. Absolutely the dumbest thing that you could have possibly done. Knowing at the time that you couldn't do what you said you thought you could do in the Glades. Most of us would just have to suck it up and say, you know what, I made a bad decision and now I'm stuck with this worthless property. Not them. You see, in this particular case, what would you rather be seen as? A capitalist or a socialist? See, if you're for protecting the drinking water, if you would be for saying, you know what, you're not going to drill for oil and we're not giving you a dime. You're not going to drill for oil, and we're not giving you a dime. Maybe we will rent some of that land from you at a very reduced rate. But we're not going to be strong-armed and muscled by these wealthy interests. The next video that I'm going to do is going to talk about Daytona Bike Week, Airbnb and Uber, and how that is contributing to the destruction of neighborhood life in Florida. Like, share, subscribe.